everyone. Welcome to another Metacircle session today with Yassine from Kinetix, who I'm really glad to host the conversation with. I'll let obviously Yassine introduce himself, but today's topic is around the AI-powered avatar, which is linked obviously to the platform Kinetix, but Yassine will give you a detailed explanation of what you guys have been building for the past years and the amazing use cases that you're bringing to video games, to the metaverse, and to virtual communication. I'll even say in general. So happy to have you today, Yassine, and I'll leave you the floor.
Yes, thank you, Benjamin. Yes, so we will start, I think, with the presentation about AI-powered self-expression. I will not only speak about Kinetix, I will try to also explain how AI is shifting the way on how people express themselves in virtual worlds and how AI will help that. And then I think we'll be having a discussion, and then we can open to Q&A and answer any question that there may be.
Exactly.
So, yeah, perfect. So hi everyone, I'm Yassine. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Kinetix. We are building AI tools to enable anyone to express themselves in virtual worlds. Actually, we started 3 years ago when no one was already talking about neither the metaverse or Web3 or even AI and creativity was a weird topic. We were one of the first startups bringing AI to the gaming industry for the content creation part. So we've been pioneering in this field, and we saw a huge evolution and acceleration the past few years. First, the big trend that we observed in the beginning when we launched Kinetix, actually, it was that there is more and more user-generated platforms like Roblox that are attracting a lot of young people and young audience. And these people are customizing their identity. An interesting figure is that, for example, in Roblox, 40% of the users update their avatar every day. So as you go to school or you change yourself and use your real clothes to go to school, basically when they log in, they will change their avatar because it's basically their identity in these virtual worlds. And this kind of inspired big other platforms. We're seeing like a convergence of Meta with now avatar on WhatsApp and Instagram, but also Snapchat. So there is a convergence between video games that are avatar based and social media that are using avatars for us to express ourselves. And it appealed also to the brands and to many brands that are now trying to create their avatars. Traditionally, they had mascots, and like we all know, like McDonald's with Ronald or Michelin with the famous puppet that they have. But now they're moving towards avatars that are more interactive and that they can bring to virtual worlds. So we see like everyone is giving attention to our virtual identity. And yeah, at Kinetix, we want to go one step further, because identity is not only about how we look, meaning our avatar and our wearables, but also how we behave, how we interact, and how we move. As you can see in this picture, this is a Clonex that is animated directly from a video. So any users using Kinetix tool, one of our technologies is to be able to transform a video into an animated avatar that can live in any 3D space or social media. But let me tell you a bit more about self-expression, because it's something that is deeply rooted in the history of humanity. It started with the hieroglyphs, emojis, emoticon, and I jumped a huge period, and the future will be through our avatars. Actually, it's interesting to see that Meta already introduced, for example, the avatar reactions in Instagram and Snapchat. And just today, to give you a sense of emoticons that are exchanged, I'm not talking about the avatars, but the scale of emoticons are 10 billion emoticon exchange every day. So you can imagine how, by customizing our avatar and how we our avatar look, we'll be able to express ourselves across virtual worlds and hopefully using a single identity connection. But this is not something that is taking more time. It's more, I think, an idea, an ideal. But now, let's say that companies are doing it at their own level. And if you are in Roblox, you'll be able to use your avatar across different experiences. And hopefully in the future, you'll be able to use your emotes, your moves, your clothes and wearables across different virtual worlds. And maybe to give you a bit sense of the problems that we are solving and why AI today is important for that, is that today virtual world and social media are all competing for brain time, for user engagement and monetization. And the first layer that has been built are static avatars. And if you have avatars that are static, not moving, you cannot express yourself, you cannot interact, and you cannot also create storytelling and tell stories or exchange with other people in a meaningful way. This is limiting today the time spent by user. And there are some studies, for example, that show that games that have a social aspect, like Fortnite, for example, retain people 2 hours more than games that don't have social features. That proves that people are not there only to play, they're there to meet their friends, to spend time, and they want to express themselves in a very authentic way, meaningful way, and a fun way as well. And AI for that is an amazing tool because it brings the barrier to creation to very, very low. So you can now just write a prompt and you'll be able to generate images and assets in 2D, but we're seeing this approaching the 3D. And our vision at Kinetix is that everyone will be able to use these UGC tools directly in-game to create their own emotes, but it will also be for AI-driven NPCs. There are companies like InWorld that we are partnering with that are creating like kind of the ChatGPT of avatars. So we'll be able to talk with the characters in-game that have a story, that can remember what you say to them, and that can move in a different way. There is a big meme and big jokes about NPCs and how they move, like in GTA, for example. We all know like the very repetitive way of how they behave and move. And currently, for example, we're working on a project with InWorld to see how we can bring from text, from emotion, or from context, movements that are aware of this context and that are modified. So it's kind of filtering movements of a random conversation, and you'll be able to have an NPC that is interacting in a more natural and meaningful way. All that generated by AI. And the last part is social media, because actually there is a flywheel between 3D worlds and metaverse platforms and social media, because people like, for example, one of our big partners is Zepeto, is one of the biggest virtual worlds in Asia. And a lot of their users are uploading their videos from their avatars, and they're uploading that on TikTok and creating content and storytelling with it. It's kind of small virtual influencers that are creating short videos and then reposting it in social media. So there's kind of a flywheel between 3D worlds, virtual worlds with social media. And at Kinetix, we're trying to bring the tools and infrastructures so that any avatar-based social platforms can enable their users to customize their content. So just a quick, maybe just an overview. So you have the virtual worlds that have game engines, and basically we are plugging our technology in the game engines, and the end users on the left part, which is our end user like customer, even if we're talking only to virtual worlds. So their users will be able to either buy a movement, and we're creating libraries with celebrities, with artists, dancers, or they can customize with our no-code tools any kind of emote, and then they can bring this directly. Once they create this content, they have it directly in game. So we're kind of the first AI tools that are plugging themselves into these virtual worlds, because most of the other AI tools that you can see today, like for image generation or for 3D, even for some 3D asset generation, basically it's for creators and people need to code a game to be able to bring these assets. We're going one step further and trying to bring these AI tools directly in-game so that you as a gamer, you can be in the game environment and create something and have it in the game. And I will show you some demos after that. So we have a studio with the multiple features to be able to do that. It's a cloud-based studio. So as I said in the beginning, we have our first tool that we started with, which is video to animation. You can input a video from TikTok or YouTube or film yourself with a camera phone, a single camera, without any device needed. And in a few seconds, you'll be able to generate your move. And this is compatible with any kind of avatars.
I advise people to go and try it online. The platform is really well made.
Yeah, actually, yeah, the platform is open. Even if you have this B2B2C and you will be able to use it in-game, people can also go on our platform and create directly their emotes. We also have filters. So we want to add, as I was saying before, styles and filters. So you can apply a drunk filter, a robot filter. So that's a proactively editing feature. But in the future, we will automate it as well for the virtual world so that automatically it will apply filters on the motion to fit a specific context or text. We also have other features of blending, so you can mix different emotes together and create new ones from our libraries. We're working on facial animation as well. This is a project we haven't released yet, but we have it at the R&D stage for the moment. And our latest generative AI feature that we released is the text to emote. So basically, this feature is very interesting because it's more easy to access in terms of UX. You can be in a virtual world, type a text, fancy hello, and it will generate an emote. This is pure generative AI. It's not using our library, like our libraries and emotes have been used for the training. But even for more complex movements, we're able now to do, for example, 2 movements. You can say, I want to be angry and jump, and it will be able to generate that. And it can be done for now in now for the demo, you can see it's quick, but for now, the real computing time is about a minute. So you'll have to wait a bit before receiving the assets and play it.
This is actually crazy in the sense that you have the link between 2 different emotes, then that is already done. So if I'm saying happy jump, rather than just being a model that goes into your library, putting a happy emote, then putting a jump with maybe in the middle a sequence that is not really clean, I'll say, it's abrupt. So you have the full flow movement that is made.
So we could have done it this way, meaning that you can search for 2 different movements and we can blend them together to create a natural movement, which is not how it's done, because this won't be generative AI. It will be using a text research of the library and creating a smooth transition between 2 animations. This we can do, but this is not what we're doing. The feature that I showed is a pure generative AI. That means that it generates multiple variations. So if you recompute with the same sentence, you will have different possibilities of what is angry. Like when you do in Midjourney, I want a red house, and then you have 4 propositions. So in the video, you cannot see it because we only send 1 proposition to the user. But in the future, you'll be able to have multiple propositions and select the one you want, and you can recompute it and improve it. So it's like what you're doing with Stable Diffusion or Midjourney for image generation, but for emote generation, but directly into a 3D space in a 3D game. That's the layer of difficulty that is higher, but we believe by doing that we will reach a way wider audience, because people won't create something and then bring it in the game. It takes too much time, and it's not only doable, it's not even doable for most of the platforms that have closed platforms. What we're trying to do and what we are currently integrating is our technology within virtual worlds, so that the end users can create automatically in these virtual worlds. And our vision is that most of the AI feature, in 5-10 years, most of the games you'll be able to create directly in the game and have your assets directly part of the game.
This is really a game changing. The possibility of expressing oneself through an emote that you text is because obviously for people in the audience, but as a whole, the expressing system was either just a chat or just emotes within a library that you predefine through the emote wheel, etc. So this is really an amazing feature, and the ambition is really game changing for any virtual world. I mean, as a gamer myself, or it's pretty impressive.
Maybe, yeah, because for people that are not used to it, in most of the video games, there is only few emotes that are coded in the game because there are a problem of memory. So people like game developers won't put more emotes in the game. They will put like a limited number of emotes, which is like very basic. And we are changing the paradigm because before emotes were plugged in the engine and they're hard coded in the engine. We're shifting the paradigm by putting the emotes in the cloud and like kind of sending the emotes directly that are generated either by the users or on our big libraries, so people can pick them and have them directly in the game. And we are providing all this infrastructure for video games so they don't have to develop all this. So they plug our SDK and they will be able to access all our UGC tools or our premium content.
Thanks.
And how it looks like in the game, the UI can be, of course, customized, but basically you have your emotes and you can bring your own or use the one that are in our library, and then you can play them and express yourself in a game. Maybe a few words about the market of virtual identity. There are many studies that show that it will be a 600 billion market composed of avatar market, wearables, but also emotes. To give you a sense of the size of this market, today Fortnite is making about 6 billion by just selling in-game assets, which are skins, emotes, and emotes actually represent about 600 million revenues annually within just Fortnite. And we expect it to be like about the 40 billion market. So it's a rapidly growing and a big market, not only for emotes, but also for wearables. There are many AI companies now. Like yesterday, we were hosting an event with DressX, for example, that just raised about 15 million as well in the US to create also new tools for AI-generated clothes and wearables. Then that you can use in virtual worlds. So it's rapidly, like all the tools to be able to customize your virtual identity are evolving very quickly, and we will see more and more diversity and customization in the virtual worlds that we are all using every day. So we did some studies as well, maybe just some figures about emotes. Like 95% of gamers are willing to pay for emotes. The average yearly spend is about $20. Gen Zs are more likely to use emotes, and most like the main use case for emotes is for socialization with the other player and what Gen Z is calling flex. So when you kill someone or when you want to celebrate or when you want to prank someone, you will be able to have your own moves to be able to do that. And yeah, a few words that we are also seeing an interesting model for brands. This is valid for emotes, but it's also valid for all the type of assets. We see a lot of collaboration between brands that wants to enter these virtual worlds by bringing cosmetics, by bringing their IP. Like we were working with for example, Dancing with the Stars to bring the movements of the dancers and celebrities into the games. And the model we see is a kind of a revenue sharing between the virtual worlds, the brands and the companies that help them to do that. It's an interesting trend to see that it's a big market for the brands and virtual worlds to sell assets, especially knowing that the retail and fashion, there are some projections that show that half of your closet as a Gen Z would be a virtual closet by 2030. So people would be buying a lot of virtual clothes Brands and all the actually retail is looking at how they can create 3D models and 3D assets that are fitting their real and physical assets. I don't know the timing, but maybe few use cases. I was telling you about Dancing with the Stars, so we created a collection with them, and we're bringing it into many virtual world about dance, including Next Dancer. We're working with some brands to create their own filters and their own
you
emotes.
can show if you want Yassine the video. No worries on the timing. It's okay. So no worries if you want to.
Yeah, and also it's also ways to create unique UGC videos. So for example, in some events, we used our tools to be able to capture some dancers and artists, and you can create your own moves, and then you can receive your video and 3D asset that you'll be able to use in games like Sandbox. And it can be also done by social media. Maybe some figures about Kinetix in a few words. We have already had more than 850,000 users of our emotes. We have one of the largest animation data sets in the world. That's why we managed to create the text to emote and the video to animation as well. And we have a big strategic partnership with a lot of players. Some of them you may know. And we raised about 12 million last year with some of the strategic players as well on the field. We are a team of about 35 people, mostly engineers for the moment. Yeah, that's it. You can reach out to me by email if you want. This is my contact. As Benjamin said, our platform is open. So if you want to do your own tests and create your own emotes, you can already do that on Kinetix.tech.
Thank you very much, Yassine. I think we'll obviously have time for some questions, but the first question that I would have, Yassine, is how did you get maybe with your co-founder the idea of it? How, you know, what pain did you found, because it was more than 2.5 years ago. So the story and the vision that you guys have is really interesting. So what's the backstory of it?
The backstory is that he was working research in AI. He was working on especially 3D and 3D animation. Mm-hmm. And we saw an acceleration of the papers, like a research paper on the topic. So we knew that there will be like a kind of an inflection point where there will be more and more qualitative results on that. And at the same time, when we were talking to the game studios and virtual worlds, the main problematic was animation is costing a lot. It's very difficult to do, and it's very limited because there are only few people that can do that. It's like 5 years of studies. Maybe to give you an idea, if you are like a Pixar animator, in your whole life, you will create 40 minutes of animation. And in a movie, you will be producing maybe 1 minute or something like that. So it gives you like how difficult and how technical animation is. Of course, we don't have like, we're not reaching Pixar quality in terms of animation, because we're more like motion capture oriented, and there's like way more emotions today in the animation of Pixar, etc. But filters and AI for creativity is evolving so fast that we believe that in the next few years, you'll be able to add more emotion, to add more cartoony styles, and being able to bring storytelling to everyone. Basically, our like ambition since day one was animation is the base of storytelling. We all grew up with Disney movies, with Pixar and video games, and animation, even if it's not a visual, it's not visual because it's like basically it's mathematical rotation and translation. It's how a game or a movie, animation movie, brings emotion and bring interactivity, and it's something that is super limited. So we were like, if we open this, it will create millions of possibilities for users. And we shifted progressively from the professionals to the mass market because we thought that there was a bigger opportunity for us to be mass market.
Interesting. And because it's such a hot topic, how are you using, and is it the only way of AI models that you're using? The generative aspect of your platform. What are the challenges that it brings? We mentioned it a little bit of the different choices that you can do, either picking up into a library or so. What aspects and what are the challenges that it brings, and obviously the values and the opportunities of the platform as a whole?
Yeah, so the video animation that we started with is deep learning. It's not generative because you're copying a video, and it's like kind of AI motion capture. The generative feature we launched was the text to emote, and we leverage our data to be able to do that. For now, mostly the challenges we have are productivizing this because it's a new feature. So it's like seeing how it fits in terms of user journey. Because before we had people like generating from video, but this is more like it's more direct medium. So it's more like some product challenges. Obviously, there are some also R&D challenges like the computing time. As I was saying today, computing time and cost, because when you generate, every time there is a cost in the cloud and there is a timing. So it's how can we deal with these constraints to make it easy for the users to create this content and have it in their game. These are the most, I would say, constraints we have at the moment.
And how did you build your first library? How did you train your models? Because there are so much, I mean, movements, variations, etc. So how did you manage to reach that kind of quality and yeah, the challenge behind the enrichment?
Yeah. So the quality is on the model itself plus the training. So we have our proprietary model. We have about more than 10 people working in the R&D team to build the models, and we gathered a huge amount of data by doing partnerships with studios. We created our own. We had a team of people creating data sets. We have our own creative team to create and label this. And we have also acquired huge amounts of data. We purchased data to be able to train that. So actually, it's one of the bigger assets that we developed, and that's what allowed us to be the first to launch the text to emote. And this is also kind of a defensibility compared to the large models like Stable Diffusion, etc. Have access to millions of data in terms of video, text, and image because they're available on the internet. Whereas animation is a 3D animated asset, is one of the most difficult assets to have, and this what creates our defensibility in terms of technology today.
And so you mentioned it a little bit, but the possibilities of I mean, your tech seems like there are so many use cases everywhere, like for movies, for whether it's animation on some sequence, for fully animated movies, whether it's for the video game developers themselves, etc. What is like your vision? You mentioned that right now you're really on that B2B2C aspect. Is there any plan of really bringing that technology only for B2B and, I don't know, huge corporations that are definitely in need of more productivity? And I think that's what it brings especially. So is that in the short, medium?
No,
not at all?
To be honest, we explored everything for a long time. But in every field, there is a startup, you know? So there is a big release of Wonder Dynamics recently that is applying 3D extraction into VFX and creation. It's backed by Steven Spielberg, actually. And it's a very interesting case where you can do a movement and the AI will extract your movement and create an avatar and erase you as a person, but it's rendered as a video. So the end product is a video. The others, like companies that are creating software for professionals are enable you to extract video to animation and then to edit it with the professional tools, and it's for professional animators. Like the market is so big, and the targets are so like have their own workflows and pipelines that we cannot do everything at the same time. So we are kind of focused on our main target, which are virtual worlds and how we can bring our infrastructure. And actually, this is already like a huge job that takes a lot of time. So we are kind of focusing on this. And why we're focusing on that? Because we strongly believe that the main revenue drivers in virtual worlds will be in-game assets. Actually, like the market of in-game assets is bigger than the market of creation of games. So for us, it's a more interesting market, and also it's easier to enter a market where you enable people to do things that they couldn't do before. It's like creating a new market, whereas the other one is competing with professionals and accelerating the productivity. I think like for us, the vision was more exciting to be able to enable billions of people to be able then to create their own emotes and bring them into any social platform. It's way more exciting for us.
Yeah, and it's true that I mean the market of in-app or in-game purchases is crazy. I saw some figures on Fortnite, for instance, which is obviously completely free to play if you want it, and the average basket is insanely high, and it's mainly cosmetics or emotes. So it's really changing. I mean the way people consume, and so it's really interesting. I mean in that aspect. What I wanted also to ask is maybe I didn't grasp that is because it's really such a unique feature, obviously, and so in touch with the I mean the whole buzzword around the generative AI right now. But the text to emote system, what is like your roadmap? What do you believe will be maybe used, and when it will be probably used in your roadmap right now?
So it will be by the end of the year, while the time we're integrating the feature in games. To answer also the question that Laetitia asked, so now we are in a phase where we're currently working with the virtual worlds, currently with Zepeto, Sandbox, and many other smaller games to integrate our technology. It takes a lot of time to integrate that because we are integrating our technology directly in their engines. And when you have live games, when you add a new feature, they have to be careful that everything is perfect before putting it in production. So we expect to have this in production by the end of the year in some platforms. Actually, in smaller games like Next Dancer or other ones that are not released yet, our technology is already integrated. But it's either now smaller games that have integrated our technology, but these games are not live yet themselves, or the bigger platforms. And we're like, for example, in the acceleration program of Meta and talking with their teams about these topics. And so it takes a lot of time to validate that. So I would say that the first live usages will be by the end of the year in some of the big platforms I mentioned.
Awesome. Thank you very much. On my side, you answered all of my questions. Thank you very much. Like Laetitia says, it's really impressive, and congrats again for everything that you're doing. Hope really can't wait to see more of its use in the bigger and bigger platforms that you're reaching out to. So it's really cool. And if anyone has any other questions, otherwise we're going to close this session. That is obviously watchable in replay for the members of Metacircle. So you will have full access to the video for being a little late. But yeah, I think everyone is all good. Thank you very much, Yassine, for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the presentation, and can't wait to see what's next for you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
And don't hesitate to reach out, obviously, to Yassine. That was at some point in the video replay. You will have his email, so don't hesitate to reach out to him.
Or you can add me on LinkedIn. I can answer there as well.
Awesome. Thank you very much again, Yassine.